the voice of my character, Shayla Abdullah, from my up-and-coming book, The Elephant is the Room, and that's when I find the poem. Okay, so the poem is about my character and another character in the book, her sister, and it is about marrying someone or being forced to marry someone who is very, very religious and who believes that sex is haram, meaning forbidden, that all sexual activity is forbidden, and yes, people like that do exist. So, let's go. Okay, so I'm handing it over to Shayla now. Okay, right. When Hiba decided to stop sinning, when at 16 my sister Hiba agreed to marry Anis, our first cousin, the son of our father's brother, she, the niece. Hiba did not know the full extent of Anis's religiosity or how confined he was by his dogmatic decree. And because he turned out to be such an insufferable goddamn ignoramus, I, Shayla, by coven decree, hereby rename him St. Anus the Heinous. That's right. And as for us witches, don't mistake our lives. We're not the Taliban wives, we're more like Caliban's wives, exiled, feral, fluent in sin, raised on the wreckage every tempest begins. So on the wedding night, when St. Anus the Heinous first glimpsed Hiba's exposed caboose, his theology exploded and laminated the floor in the colour of repressed sperm juice. You could tell it had gone off because it smelled sour with a strong whiff of your chastity curdled with fear. So when Hibbs once asked me, have you ever tried sperm past its shelf life? I knew she was talking about Dick Kefir. Anyway, it wasn't like God was handing out special rewards for the bluest balls of all, and the winner is St. Anus the Heinous, as though religiosity was defined by how many wet dreams you intercepted brain to balls. When he did get Hibbs pregnant, it was a wonder. I called it Immaculate Conception, and we howled till we couldn't breathe. Immaculate, she wheezed, unless you mean divine Wi-Fi. The connection kept dropping, but the signal somehow got by. Eventually, after Hiba begged and pleaded that female pleasure was valid and could exist without compunction, it got a name. Not her need, but his problem, his dysfunction. The GP actually recommended masturbation. Now, which person wouldn't smirk if the doctor prescribed wanking as follow-up work? But not St. Anus, oh no, for him self-pleasure was a big thing, like a gateway drug to more flesh and skin. You tried your hand there, you naughty boy. Now picture this, a hole, then 2 and 3. So no, St. Anus believed urgently the dick must not be encouraged to grow. Not even by my hand, Hibbs one day dared to ask. That's double haram, St. Anus gasped, and Hibbs realized he was scandalized at the thought of a threesome of hands. Who knows, she joked, we could use all 4. In fact, it could be exactly like the scene from Ghost before he dies, with you sat behind me as we both work your cock like it's made of clay. He hated Hiba's creative diversions. Your hands will bear witness against you on the day of judgment, was all he had to say. Hiba looked down at her palms and back up at me through the memory and shrugged. And fuck me, I guess. Okay. God, she whispered dreamily into the haze of sunlight between us, doesn't rest in the 4 corners of our bed. I know we call him omnipresent, but that doesn't mean he's lying under the spread. And so one day, Hiba said one last thing to St. Anus the Heinous. You know, I don't think God actually wants anything to do with your penis. And more importantly, she added, real sin was thinking of herself as less as a person, with less to say, and with less to feel, and less to say. And so that glorious morning, with her hands curled into face, Hiba decided, I'm going to stop sinning today.